Maya walked down the street with a heavy bag on her head. Her eyes were full of tears and her heart felt like it was breaking. She didn't know where she was going. She just walked and walked, hoping maybe something would change. People passed by her, some walking fast, some slowly, but none of them stopped. They saw her crying, but they didn't ask if she was okay. Some looked at her, then looked away, as if they didn't care. Others whispered, but no one helped her. The sun started to go down. Maya had no food. Her stomach groaned, but she had nothing to eat. She didn't have a single coin in her pocket. She was tired, hungry, and alone. With nowhere else to go, she finally sat down by the roadside, curled up by a tree, and fell into a restless sleep under the open sky. But in the dead of night, what should have been a moment of rest turned into a nightmare. A group of men appeared, strangers with no mercy in their eyes. They forced her. Maya tried to scream, to fight, but they overpowered her. One by one, they took what was never theirs to take. She cried bitterly, hopelessly, but the world was asleep. The houses nearby were silent. No one came. No one saw them. When the morning sun rose, Maya didn't move. She sat there lump, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Her face was stained with tears that never seemed to stop. People passed. Some glanced. Most looked away. No one asked if she was okay. No one stopped to see the pain in her eyes. And Maya sat there, alone with everything broken inside her. As the sun rose higher, Maya slowly stood up from the ground. Her body ached and her heart felt heavy, but she knew she couldn't stay there. With shaking hands, she cleaned herself up as best as she could. Then she took her small bag and hid it in the bush near the roadside. She began to walk, her steps slow and weak. She looked like someone who hadn't eaten in days. Her clothes were dusty and her face was tired. But deep inside, she still had a small spark of strength. Maya walked along the road, looking around for anything, food, water, or even help. Soon she saw a small boutique shop by the roadside. Outside, a kind-looking woman sat on a chair. She is old enough to be her mother. Maya stopped and took a deep breath. "Good morning, ma," she said softly, her voice low. The woman looked up, surprised but calm. "Good morning, my dear. Are you okay?" Maya shook her head slowly. "Please, do you have any work I can do? Anything I can clean, carry things. I am strong. I just need something." The woman looked at her carefully, saw the tiredness in her eyes, the hunger, the quiet pain. "What is your name?" she asked gently. "Maya," she said. "All right, Maya," the woman said, standing up. "Come, sit down first. Let me find you something to eat." The woman brought out a plate of food and gave it to Maya. Without thinking twice, Maya grabbed it and started eating like a mad woman. She was so hungry that she didn't even care about the way she looked or who was watching her. She ate fast, licking her fingers and scrubbing the plate clean. After a few minutes, the woman looked at her closely and asked, "Why do you look like this, my dear?" At that moment, something broke inside Maya. Her hands started shaking and tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked down and said, "It's a long story." The woman moved closer and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "It's okay," she said softly. "You don't have to say anything if it is too hard." Maya slipped and wiped her tears. The woman gave her a small smile and said, "I am Madam Gold. I own this shop. I can't offer you a job. I am sorry." Maya quickly knelt down, holding Madam Gold's hand. "Please, ma, I am ready to do anything. I just need a chance. I won't disappoint you, I promise." Madam God looked at her for a long moment, then sighed. Fine, you can walk with me, but I don't have any place for you to stay. I can't help with accommodation. Maya's eyes light up with hope. Please, ma, I can sleep in the shop. I don't need much. I just need somewhere to lay my head. Mother God thought about it. She looked around the shop, then back at Maya. After a moment of silence, she nodded slowly. All right, but you must keep the place clean and safe. No trouble. Do you understand? Yes, ma. Thank you, ma. God bless you, ma. Maya shouted, standing up quickly with joy written all over her face. She ran as fast as she could to the corner where she had hidden her small bag, dusted it off, and rushed back, ready to start work immediately. Her heart was full of hope again. Maya started working in Madame Go's boutique the very next day. She sweeps and cleaned the shop early in the morning, arranged the clothes neatly. She was always polite to the customers, greeting them with a smile and helping them pick out what they wanted. Customers began to like her because she was respectful and gentle. Madame Gold also started to notice how hardworking she was, and she was pleased with Maya's efforts. But after some weeks, something started happening. Maya became weaker and slower. She began sleeping a lot in the shop. Even during the day, sometimes Madame Gold would find her dozing off on a chair or lying on the floor behind the counter. One day, Mother God called her and said, Maya, what is wrong with you? You sleep too much. This is a shop, not a bedroom. You need to be alert. I am sorry, Ma, Maya replied in a weak voice. I don't know what is wrong with me. Maybe I am just sick. Thinking it might be malaria, Madame God went out and bought her malaria drugs. Take this medicine. Rest well tonight, she said. Maya took the medicine, but the situation didn't get better. In fact, it became worse. She felt dizzy, weak, and was always tired. Madame God began to worry. This is not normal, Madame God said one morning. Get ready, we are going to the hospital. They went to a nearby clinic where Maya was asked to do some tests. After a while, the doctor came out of his office holding a paper in his hand. He looked at Madame Gold and said, She is not sick. She is 3 weeks pregnant. Madame Gold's eyes widened. Pregnant? Maya's leg became weak and she dropped to her knees crying uncontrollably. I didn't know, ma. I swear I didn't know. Madame Gold just stood there in shock, not knowing what to say. Madame Gold was furious. She dragged Maya into the shop roughly and shouted at her. How could you bring this kind of thing into my shop? She yelled. You are pregnant and you didn't tell me? I cannot keep you here anymore. I cannot accommodate you and your unborn child. Maya fell on her knees, crying bitterly. Please, ma, I didn't plan this. It wasn't my fault. I was forced. Some boys attacked me in the middle of the night when I had nowhere to sleep. I didn't even know I was pregnant. Please, ma, believe me. But Madame Gold was too angry to listen. She shook her head and turned away. I am sorry, Maya, but I can't help you anymore. This is city. No one wants to carry another person's bundle, especially an unknown pregnant girl like you. She walked to her drawer and brought out some money. She handed it to Maya and said, Take this. It's better you go back to your village. Maybe someone there will help you. I have tried for you. Maya collected the money with shaking hands, tears rolling down her cheeks as she picked up her bag. She looked around the shop one last time, the place that had given her hope. Thank you for everything, ma, she said in a trembling voice, then turned and walked away, still crying. Madame God stood by the shop door watching her go. Her heart was heavy, and tears filled her eyes. She whispered to herself, "Poor girl, I wish you the best." Maya found her way back to her village, using the little money Madam Gold gave her. The journey was long and painful, but she finally arrived. She didn't go to anyone's house. Instead, she walked straight to her parents' grave, carrying her small bag in her hand. She knelt down between the two graves, dropped her bag beside her, and began to cry. "Mama, Papa," she sobbed, "please come and take me. I am tired. This world is too wicked. I have no one. I have nothing. I want to be with you." She placed her hands on the cold ground, weeping bitterly. "I didn't ask to be born into this kind of life. I have suffered too much. Please just take me away." She cried and cried, calling out to her parents, begging them to come for her. But no voice answered. No hand reached out. The only sound was the wind blowing through the trees. As much as she cried, Maya still found herself alive. The pain in her chest was heavy, but her heart was still beating. She lay down on the grave, resting her head between them, and continued crying until there were no more tears left in her eyes. She was tired, broken, and alone, but she was still alive. Not quiet long, Maya's pregnancy began to show. Her belly started getting bigger, and the villagers began to gossip. They said all sorts of things about her. Some people felt pity for her, saying, "What a poor girl." But others insulted her and called her a useless child. Even with her heavy pregnancy, Maya worked on people's farmland just to raise money to feed herself and her unborn child. Every day, under the hot sun or rain, she kept working. It was not easy, but she had no choice. She continued like that for months, never giving up. Finally, the time came. Maya gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. She was so happy when she saw her child. Tears of joy filled her eyes. She had suffered so much, but now she held her reward in her arms. After she gave birth, the villagers came to congratulate her. Some brought gifts, others just came to see the baby. Even those who once gossiped about her had now come to celebrate with her. Maya raised Frank, her son, all alone by herself. Maya was strong. She didn't let her troubles stop her. Every day, she tied little Frank to her back and went to work in people's farm. Under the hot sun and in the rain, she bent down weeding and planting just to make enough money to feed herself and her baby. It was hard, but she never gave up. Time passed quickly before she knew it. Frank was already 2 years old. He was a cheerful little boy who followed his mother around like her shadow. He didn't know how hard life was. Soon, men started coming to ask for Maya's hand in marriage. Some came with sweet words, promising her an easier life. They told her she wouldn't have to suffer on farms anymore. One man said, "Maya, if you marry me, I will take care of you. You will never have to work in people's farms again." But then he added, "But you can't bring that boy with you. He is not my son. I don't want another man's child in my house." Another man said, "I will marry you, but your son must stay with your uncle or to any of your relatives. He can't come and live with us." Another one even said, "I will marry you, but don't expect me to send that boy to school. I have my own plans. I won't waste my money on a child that is not mine." Each suitor that came gave her a condition. Some were kind at first, but their words always ended with one thing: leave the boy behind. Maya would listen quietly. She would load her head and smile softly. One day, Maya sat under a tree deep in thought. She began to think about everything, about her life, about Frank, his son, and about all the suitors that had come her way. She asked herself if she should agree to any of their conditions. Maybe if she said yes, her life would become easier. Maybe she wouldn't have to suffer on people's farm anymore. But then she looked at her little son playing nearby. She thought of all the nights she had gone hungry just to feed him, all the days she had carried him on her back while walking in the hot sun, and how no one had helped her. As tears filled her eyes, Maya made a decision. She said to herself, "In fact, I will not marry again. I will remain a single mother. I will stay strong for my son. I will give him the best life I never had." From that moment on, Maya's heart became even stronger. She was no longer just living for herself. She was living for her son, Frank. Maya started training her son, Frank, all by herself. Even though it was not easy, she never gave up. She enrolled him in school because she believed education would give him a better future. Every morning, she would wake up early, prepare food for Frank, and walk him to school before going to work. Maya worked on people's farms under the hot sun, bending down for hours just to earn a little money. She also washed clothes for big men in the village and cleaned their houses. No job was too small or too hard for her. She did anything she could find just so her son would never lack anything. After work, she would come home tired, but she still found time to help Frank with his schoolwork. At night, she would kneel beside her bed and pray. She prayed to God to protect her and her son. She asked God to give her strength and to help her raise Frank into a great man. Even when she was tired, hungry, or sad, she kept going. She never complained. All she wanted was for Frank to have a good life, the kind of life she never had. Maya was a strong woman, and she made sure her son also had food to eat, clothes to wear, and love to feel. No matter how hard life was, she never let it break her. She was a mother, a worker, and a prayer warrior, all in one. And through it all, she smiled because she knew that one day all her hard work would pay off. Men kept coming Maya's way, but she ignored them and focused on her son. She believed that her redemption will come through him. Slowly, Frank grew up, finished his secondary school, and quickly got admission into the university. Maya continued with her neighboring work so she could provide everything he needed. Frank also did minor jobs and worked at building sites after school to support himself and make things easier for his mother. Soon, Frank finished his university education. Not long after, he got a well-paying job. He didn't forget his mother for one day. He started sending money to her in the village and made sure some of her needs were provided. After some time, Frank brought his mother to the city to stay with him. He made life easy and comfortable for her. Maya was very happy. At last, she felt peace. She smiled every day, knowing that she had finally defeated poverty, not the other way round. Poverty did not kill her the way it killed her parents. Please do not forget to subscribe, comment, and like.